How's it going there, everyone? It's Mr. Zan over here bringing you guys another Nanatsu no Taizai chapter discussion. And for today's segment, folks, we're going to be talking about chapter 192. The chapter just came out today. It's an early release, guys, so, I'm kind of excited for the fact that, in this chapter, we're actually getting onto a brand new fight, guys, and that fight itself is against Fraudulent. Of course, Greylord was defeated necessarily by Merlin in the latest chapter last week, but now in this chapter, guys, we're ongoing with a new enemy, and that's Fraudulent. Now, with this chapter, guys, it's all about Fraudulent. All about him. And the reason I say that is because Fraudulent, for a fact that, we never really necessarily typically, would see him in battle often, It's always the other 10 commandments have been, outclassing him and outshining Fraudulent himself. Fraudulent seems like he's a weak character, in my honest opinion, Since the other 10 commandments seem so overpowered, as I'm all just wondering as to, what is Fraudulent? How does he look like? Of course, in flashbacks, they've shown him to be like a giant, shadowy figure. We don't know what exactly he looks like. What kind of demon outlook does he have? Is he actually human itself? Is he a vampire? We just don't know though. But luckily though, in this chapter though, we actually see Hendrickson actually come out and actually become another center of attention, guys. And it seems that Hendrickson is actually, repenting, and actually, he has some lost feelings for himself that, he's trying to repent on the fact that, he actually killed thousands and thousands of knights and people based on Dreyfus's orders, So in this chapter, he's come to terms and he's ready for action and he's ready to face against Dreyfus. And I'm loving the dialogue that was going on throughout the whole entire chapter, and that was because of the fact that Hendrickson was actually, he's ready to die. He really is. Like, he literally, throughout the whole entire chapter, he's literally saying, what, I'm here. That's it. This is our last fight between us, and I'm here to take you down, Fraudulent. Well, he was not necessarily saying Dreyfus, but he actually is saying Dreyfus. I'm sorry. He is explaining to Dreyfus, but he's actually trying to speak to is Fraudulent himself. I'm assuming Hendrickson doesn't know the name of the demon. That's why he calls him by Dreyfus throughout the whole entire time. But, viewers and readers, of course, we know that he's actually talking to the demon and not really Dreyfus himself. But, that's actually pretty interesting in itself, guys, that Hendrickson is now ready to actually show himself on the good side's team. And, it's funny that after Merlin finished off Greylord, he'd actually... she didn't actually, face off against Fraudulent. Instead, she was actually focused on Greylord and actually keeping it intact, all focused about doing all these kind of experimentations. In the chapter, kind of, like I said, it just shows her sin, her sin of gluttony. She's just overwhelmed at what she wants to do with her knowledge, and she wants to gain more and more knowledge and feed herself into what Greylord and what experiments she can actually unfold with just Greylord himself. And, that's actually pretty interesting, but, she kind of forgot about all the events that happened unfolding. And that's what I'm assuming with Merlin. Merlin herself, she just seems like the type that she could just OP everybody. But because, Greylord was the only one that was really hindering everybody's existence into, like, actually fighting, it could kind of say that, Merlin did her part. And now that she's like basically saying, okay, after that, you guys can basically take care of everything. I'm going to go do my own thing. That's what, in my opinion, looked like from Merlin's side of view, Because I'm pretty sure Merlin could actually, like, freaking take out Fraudulent himself. But she's probably like, just call me when you need me. That's what it looked like to me. It was a hilarious part on Merlin's side. But, like I said, Merlin already did her part in actually fighting off because 10 Commandments. But then again, we don't know if she might pop out again. But for right now, the chapter is actually focusing on Fraudulent versus Hendrickson himself. And in the chapter, guys, let's not forget that it seems that Meliodas has finally reached the castle, or the Leonis castle, you kind of say, because of the fact that Lord Zataras has now came in and helped out Hendrickson in the fight. And you gotta see that was a very emotional state for Hendrickson. We hardly ever get to see the very stoic and very powerful warrior that Hendrickson is. He actually was on the verge of tears when he saw Zataras. As you can see, clearly their friendship and brotherhood that they have is clearly that strong that, he literally was, even his dialogue out of Hendrickson was actually so shocked. He's like, are you really here in front of me? Am I imagining these things? Like, only, and he was in tears, like that. Lord Zataras is in front of him. As you can see, he really did not want to kill Lord Zataras. It's just that, like I said, Dreyfus's and Fraudulent's, like, evil mastermind plan that's been going around, it's just persuaded Hendrickson. You know, Hendrickson was never really a villain, guys. You know, Hendrickson has always been a good guy to the core, you know. It's just that, you know, he's just been blackmailed. That's just basically it. He's been blackmailed into freaking killing people. You know, and I'm loving the fact that in this chapter, we actually get to see a little bit more of Lord Satara's power. He was actually showing some of his, I would say, lightning techniques, which is kind of hilarious because it's hilarious that Gil Thunder uses mostly lightning-based attacks, but it seems like Lord Sataras is on a whole nother level. You know, it's actually pretty freaking hilarious, you know, like, wow, you know, Lord Zataras. But the thing is, with Lord Zataras, I've always wondered, you know, I thought he was using more of his druid magic than lightning magic. I'm assuming he uses that lightning magic just to get him around and do quick base, like, melee attacks. But with the druid magic, it's more like purging the demons themselves. Like, that's what, I feel like that's what Lord Zataras does. He comes in with swift attacks with his lightning magic, and then with the druid magic, he just, like, expels the demons. Like that. That's what I'm assuming what Lord Zataras does, which is kind of pretty cool in a sense. But, you know, but like I said, this chapter was very overwhelmingly powerful, very, very emotional too. You know, as we can say, Hendrickson was very, very heroic in this chapter. But I can't wait to see is Frodgen. You know, it's actually Frodgen. That's the main point that every viewer and reader wants to see is what is Frodgen look like. That's the thing, guys. You know, every viewer has really been anticipating that, and I feel like this is the climax. This is straight up the climax for Frodgen, because he's facing off against I would say, his two long lost brothers. So I'm assuming that in this chapter, or the next following chapters, it would seem that it would be Frodgen's last outcome. That's my honest opinion. That's what it really looks like to me. You know, I'm hoping that Zataras takes out Frodgen, or at least weakens it to the point that when Meliodas comes onto the scene, he's gonna be like, oh, you know what? Let's all take him out once more, and bam, another 10 Commandment finish. Because, you know, slowly, bit by bit, each of the 10 Commandments have been taken out, you know. Holy snap, you know, there's only just so few little. As to wonder that it feels like this arc really is finishing now. And it actually begs the reader also as to what the next villains are going to be after the 10 Commandments. I mean, the 10 Commandments seem pretty powerful, you know. They're actually very powerful in a sense, but it's just the sins. The way that they're been created is just to be able to counteract the 10 Commandments themselves, which goes along to say that, are the goddess clans, are they going to be the next villain after, you know, let's say Frodgen and the rest of the 10 Commandments are done? Who is going to be the next villain? And I personally, like I said, I feel like it's going to be the goddess clan. And the reason I say is the goddess clan after this arc is only because of the fact that we have been slowly introduced, slowly bit by bit, by the goddess clans, and bits and bits of information has been slowly teased at us. And we're wondering that what caused that great rebellion, you know, with Meliodas and the goddess clan and Ellie. You know, it's just like there's still so many questions that it makes us wonder, like, what really happened thousands of years ago. And maybe Lord Frodgen is going to explain that with Zataras, and then when Meliodas comes into the fight with them, might explain that. Like I said, it might tease us and introduce us into a brand new arc. Like I said, like, it feels like this arc is coming to a climax. It really is, guys. But like I said, guys, interesting chapter. Very interesting in itself, guys. But that's all I gotta say for this chapter, guys. You know, like I said, I was entertained very much for this chapter. Hoping you guys were entertained as much as I was. But let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about this chapter. What do you guys think of the upcoming developments that are going to be happening in the next following chapters or in the next arc, guys? You know, like I said, you know, a lot of things are very happening in the way Nakaba is describing and writing his world, you know. It's very fluid. That's, in my honest opinion, it's a fluid motion that's going around, you know. Nakaba loves to keep the action going on very, very wonderfully. But like I said, guys, let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought about this chapter. You know, what's your favorite scene? What do you guys think of Frodgen? What do you guys actually think? Is he actually like a part of the vampire clan? Because, like I said, each of the 10 Commandments seems to be coming from at least part of each of the clan members themselves. Like I said, guys, have a wonderful day, guys. And as always, guys, you know, don't forget to give a like, comment, share, and subscribe if you guys enjoy my content. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday.